Anand Arts College for organizing this, inviting me here in this gathering. Very thankful to the principal of the college, Dr. Manoj R. Patel, Professor Mittal Mekwan, Krupa Shah, obviously, who was communicating with me regarding all this thing as an IQAC coordinator, and even Dr. Vivek Parmar, all of you. A very good endeavor you have taken, and also the other speakers are also equally good. So it was very good to listen to Professor Ratnu Bhattacharya here. And tomorrow also we have our good friends Mike Ledgerwood, Kalyan Chattopadhyay, and it will be very interesting to listen their views also in this gathering. Well, the topic on which I am going to speak here is about roles and practices of educators in technology-supported learning environments. I would like to share the slides here, and we'll see. Very normal dialogue that normally goes. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
I'll just take one small break in between.
Sir, is there any problem?
Yeah, just I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Okay, no problem, no problem.
I'm switching over the internet because from morning today we had the network problem with BSNL in our university. So I was working on my mobile network, but now we have got the network from the university setup. So I have switched over to the internet. I think it is audible and everything is okay.
Yes, it is audible, yes. Quite audible.
Okay, fine, yeah. Okay, so I hope my slides are also visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So roles and practices of educators in technology supported environment learning, which is the topic on which I have to speak on. Well, so first of all, when we sit down to argue about these things here and try to see its various dynamics, I would like to say that if we want to prove that A is not equal to B, then we should know the attributes of B along with A also. So if we don't know the attributes of B, it is very difficult to understand either B or A also. Now this A and B here are like the people who are in support or favor of technology supported learning. They are A, these educators, and the B are those who are not in favor of technology supported learning, I think. So first of all, we want to understand the B. What do the B think? And what are the arguments that normally B have regarding this here? So the very first thing that I would like to say that the educators in this have to understand the B that is very important here. Well, the B can be known as Luddites. Luddites, like if I want to make a kind of a rhyme of this word Luddites, I would say that there is a ladai between this A and B. इन दोनों के बीच में एक लड़ाई है. तो ये Luddites के साथ जो लड़ाई है, that is something that we have to see and understand. The word comes from Ned Ludd, possibly born as Edward Ludman, and he was perhaps the first one who opposed machines. And so whoever are against machines, whoever are against technology, they are normally known as Luddites. And they are also very interesting people. To listen to them, their arguments are very profound. We don't say that they are bad people or this, but to understand their attributes are a very important aspect here. Luddites have their own interesting narratives also in literature. Like Frankenstein obviously is the archetype of Luddites narrative, but there is a very interesting work by Edmund Cooper, the Cloud Walker, wherein also they argue about humans being destroyed by their own technology. emerging from a new dark age. We know the Renaissance, and before Renaissance there is a dark age. For Luddites, this is the dark age, that is the 21st century, which is overpowered by too much of technology, is dark age for Luddites. And they are looking for the dawn of second Middle Ages. The Middle Ages where there was no technology there. Their religion obviously is the Luddite church, and machines are the evil for them in this. We have a very interesting film, 1957, Naya Dor. Well, very interesting to say whether it was the Naya Dor ya Purana Dor. But then there was also a very interesting debate between us and Tangawala. And the people, in the image you can see the people, the mass was with obviously Tangawala, and the Tangawala was the hero. The villain was Baswala. And this was very, so there were narratives where Luddites as protagonists are portrayed in many literary representations, popular cinema, popular imagination also goes along with this. We are still living this debate of 1957, even today when we talk about educators or teachers in the environment that we are facing nowadays. But we also have Luddites as antagonists also. Luddites as protagonists, we have in recent times, perhaps that is the mark of the 21st century popular imagination, that we are having Luddites as antagonists. So the film like The End Game, Thanos, if you have seen the film, you know that after destroying the population, half population of the world, what is Thanos doing? Thanos goes back to his planet and he is a gardener. He is planting, he is gardener, he is a farmer there, and he don't want he wanted technology only to destroy human beings, and that also for a better cause, that earth is overpopulated, and if you reduce the population of the earth by half, it is good for earth also and good for plantation, vegetation. So he is such a kind of Luddites who use technology for a better purpose. And then there was Pakshi Rajan, and Pakshi Rajan was a villain in Shankar's 2.0 robot film. The hero, the protagonists were robots, Pakshi Rajan, who cared for birds which are being killed by the mobile towers. So Luddites as protagonists, Luddites as antagonists, we have seen. But at the same time, this book has a very interesting middle way to look at Luddites, this A and B, the debate. Neither the protagonist nor the end. We don't want to be the heroes of technological world, or the educators don't want to be the villains of technology in classroom. But somewhere a mid path, which is very much required, and that comes from 1992 book by Neil Postman, Technopoly, wherein it says that the term Luddite has come to mean an almost childish and certainly naive opposition to technology. But the historical Luddites were neither childish nor naive. And this is very important part, that historically what were the arguments of Luddites, which we need even today also. They were people trying desperately to preserve whatever rights, privileges, laws and customs had given them justice in the older worldview. And we require that even today. So when we think of this, we see lots of problems with technology also. And that is what we want to see, that educators who are going to play roles in this technology supported learning environment, they have to see that this role of Luddites is still preserved. We require that also. Well, see the next slide. Educators are also critic of technology, but not like Luddites. It is not childish or naive critic or opposition of technology, but it is not that the educators who support technology are not critic of that. They are for something, but they are against technology also. They are the technology to empower all the stakeholders of education system, but if it is trying to control and impose something on the people, then you are not there with that technology. Technology to support learning process. Technology for surveillance, absolutely no. None of the educators, their role is obviously to oppose technology if anybody is trying to spy over the people. So classrooms, when technology enters in the classroom, and when even the parents are in the classroom, when the government officials are also in our classroom, well, fine, they can come, but if they try to spy, if they try to make policies, if they try to make a critic of teachers, performance in the classroom, then perhaps we have to flag mark. We have to say that, well, this is not for what we are in technology. Technology for smart work, technology for the sake of technology is always opposed. Technology obviously is pre-planned, purposeful, and beautiful integration of technology with a larger goal. Random and arbitrary use of technology is always opposed in this by the educators. Then technology to support curriculum goals and learning objectives. Yes, you are there with that. But if it is aimless use, which leads to no achievement of learning objectives, then you are not for technology there. Technology for higher order cognitive abilities and to develop critical thinking. Yes, technology is used for lower order cognitive abilities and not significant development in critical thinking. You would absolutely say no to the technologies. Technology to promote collaborative culture, you are with them. Technology for isolated learning, well, you have to think isolated learning is not a bad learning process. It also is a good, but technology, when it comes, it obviously thinks of collaborative culture there. Technology to connect the dots to construct knowledge, they are constructivists. Technology for only delivering information, you would absolutely say that, well, we don't want technology only for that purpose. With this A and B and the Luddites and the midway that we find that what educators have to play an important role in looking at this. At the same time, we have another A and B, an imaginary A and B. Now, this is between educators and teachers. We normally use the word synonyms, synonymously for both. Teachers are known as educators and educators are known as teachers. But there is a very interesting difference, which is to be marked out there. We want more of educators, less of teachers. And that is where this difference is. Teachers, the one who teaches, the one who does the job, work, occupation of teaching. Educators, the one who goes farther than what is expected as a part of job or work. Teaching is an inner calling for educators. They deal with course content, teachers deal with course content and finishing syllabus. I deliberately use the word finishing rather than completing syllabus. Finishing syllabus is their honest work. For educators, they make relationships with students more important than content. But because of those relationships, the content comes alive. For teachers, they are easily forgotten or sometimes not even known to the taught. We have many colleges where students very proudly say that we don't know who our teachers are. Here, they make permanent impression in the heart and head of the taught. All teachers are not educators, but all educators are excellent teachers here. Teachers versus educators. I like this article written by Albert P. Ryan, published in The Hindu. And he said that he goes beyond the role of a teacher only in classroom environment, but he also says that they are supposed to be critical thinkers. They have to develop critical learning environment. Critical reflective is very much necessary for these educators. They promote learner reflection also. They are well-informed people. Intellectual courage is what he also expects. Well, we are living in a time where speaking up for truth is becoming rather we can say dangerous day by day. So it is a very tough job for teachers to be critical thinkers in this post-truth era. To develop an environment is obviously more difficult. And in that process, you require intellectual courage to speak up for something that is right or wrong. And in this time, it is a very necessary characteristic that is required among the educators. Teachers will deal only with the subject. And if the people will say that, well, your syllabus is cut down to half, well, the teachers will teach the other half. Educators will question that why the syllabus is cut down, what is cut down, why this, why not the another part. So that makes a very interesting difference between teachers and educators. Shapers of thinking abilities of the learners and obviously ethical integrity, which I would say is necessary in both. But educators obviously have a very high quality of ethical integrity also. practices. These are the roles of educators. And now coming down to the practices of educators in technology supported environment. The second part of the title which I am addressing is about practices. Three things they practice, and that is they practice more, preach less, they practice more, preach less, they practice more, preach less. And I am sitting down here to preach more and practice less. So, but this is what actually educators don't do. In the next slide we will see, they are always there to do things first. If they ask learners to write blogs, they have their blogs up to date. If they don't have their blogs up to date, well, just having a blog is not necessary. There should be every week, every fortnight, every month updates on the blog, and then only they tell the learners or fellow teachers that people should have their blogs. But we have many people who keep on advising, preaching about having this and that, but they don't have those. So educators in their practices, even before they tell other people, they have their blogs. If they ask learners to have their websites as digital portfolios, they have their websites also. So if they don't have their websites, they won't tell. Educators won't tell. Maybe teachers may say this, but educators will obviously first have their own websites, up-to-date websites, and then they will advise fellow teachers, junior teachers, growing teachers, growing educators, or students, whoever the learners are to them. But first they will have that is their practice. If they ask learners to upload their presentations on open access platform, well, I have seen this is very difficult. People prepare wonderful presentations, but they don't share openly with everybody. People keep on asking, like in chats, in webinars, in seminars, that we want the presentations, but many people are not that open to share their slides. Well, obviously it is their work, it is their copyright, it is their intellectual property, it is their choice whether to share or not. We can't force them that you have to share your content. But well, when we talk about the practices of educators, sharing, uploading on free access platforms is a necessary part as a role of practitioners in technology supported learning environments. If they ask learners to have digital presence on social media for academic networking, they are also there. If they are not there, they will not ask other people. And they, because we require academicians on social media as a role models also. And educators will see the opportunity of exploring the spaces. Because when we think of technology supported learning environment, it is everything. It is not one or the other, but it is so many things together that goes into this, and social media is a part and parcel of that particular learning environment there. When they share their views, they give examples of their practices, and that is also very, very interesting that whatever practices they do, when they talk about technology supported environments, they are always there to say that, well, this is what we have done in our classroom, this is what our students are doing, this is what our practices are. People talk about what other people are doing. Well, I would say the educators, they talk about what practices they are doing, and that makes the entire point more convincing to everybody also. When they find anything new, when they find any innovative ideas or anything that can be shareable, they are very quick to practice that, put into practice. And as soon as they have mastered a part of that new technique or new teaching method, they are ready to share with everybody on open platforms like YouTube, SlideShare, blogs, websites. They are always there to share their entire activities also. The educators, they talk about their practices, they implement new practices, and then they share how it can be done with everybody in different environments also. Finally, search, implement, and share. That is a kind of the roles and practices of educators in technology supported learning environment. Constantly searching for innovative practices shall be the routine parcel of such educators. Being in the network of practitioners helps a lot. So one has to be a part of a network where practitioners are. They're not only preachers, but practitioners put into practice. Yeah, they very quickly put into practice in their teaching environment, and as soon as things have worked out, they have learned something from that, they are ready to share their experience with everybody there. Well, this is what I see as roles and practices of educators in technology supported learning environments here. Yeah. So that is what I have to say. Exactly, it is 12:30. I have tried to be very precise in maintaining the time also. But still, if there are any questions from anybody, then I can take questions also.
Thank you, sir. It was quite engaging and thought-provoking. Someone has asked the question, can you explain this technique where you teach using a class in front of the user? I think that person is asking about the light board.
Light board, okay, yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Huh. I have shared my blog also in the comment here, where the link is also given there. I'm now going to prepare a video about how to prepare light board. We have prepared that light board here. It is very costly if you go to purchase, but we have prepared here. We have made a kind of this typical Indian jugaad and assembled various parts and prepared, but it is working very interestingly well. Today again we are going to upload a couple of more videos about the light board. There are many videos available. Those who know English language, for them it is good. You can find innumerable videos on YouTube. But those who don't know English language, we need to prepare videos in Hindi and Gujarati also, because I don't think there are videos about light boards there are very few in Hindi language. So that is one of the concerns that many teachers of other subjects, and they find it problem to understand the thing. But everything is on YouTube. I learned from YouTube. If you want to learn from me, you can call me also. I will give you the path that how it can be done. Our cost also was very low, some 7,000 to 8,000 rupees only. It is more than 1.5 lakhs rupees. It is working very well. I don't know. It will take more time in explaining the entire light board kind of. If you have a specific question, I can answer to that.
Okay, thank you, sir. I